Alright, so it's part 2 of the Extruder Carriage. Looks like I hit the limit on my phone for video recording. So here goes. I mentioned the 40mm fans going in and out over the heatsink, right? So it blows air in and goes out. If you imagine the posts there for 40s, they go to about right here. I believe they're M4 35s or 30s, and they basically come down to about right there. With an M4 nut there, you could use an ENIAC certainly. And what they do is they hold this E3D clamp, and this is like a sandwich if you think about it, kind of like the old, the regular J-head metal clamps that you'll see. And the two M3 bolts screwed on this side, or sockets, or screws. And then you have on the other side, you have nuts trapped in the plastic here that we'll see in a second. But you tighten those down, they clamp down on the E3D hot end. It doesn't go anywhere. It sits on these posts. It's pretty stable. You can't really turn it that well. And then you have in the heatsink duct these sort of wings come out, if you will, extended a bit. And what that allows us to do is I went through a couple of iterations of different layer fan mounts. And the more aggressive mounting like these, like I'll show for a second, is for the 40 by 20 millimeter mounts. But if you want to use regular 40 by 10s, you could certainly just use these regular mounts, the straight mounts like I showed before. Sorry, no. So this would be if the fan was regular and you want to use like that. But the angled fans like this, these ones would be for the 40 by 10s, and these more aggressive ones would be for the 40 by 20s, which these are working awesome. You basically have two 40 by 20s, which blow a ton of air on there, getting some pretty crazy bridging without much tweaking, and each one's adjustable. You can move it up and down. You can sort of move it, if you wanted to move this back a little more for whatever reason, because you wanted it to cool not so close to the nozzle, you can put a washer in there and move this back a bit. These M3 sockets screws are just screwed right into the wing. There's no brass knurl, there's no nuts, nothing holding it. There's just no room in the plastic. But if you print this with 4 shells, you'll be fine. Just don't over torque these. You don't really need much torque to hold these in place. Just some fancy grills. You can use any 40mm grill there. And again, those steep angle brackets to hold this in. And these do a decent job. They don't wobble a bit. That doesn't really matter. And that's it for the front. I'll walk around the back real quick. This is the back. A bit of a mess at the moment as I'm still working on finalizing some things and trying the probe. So I need to clean this up again. And unfortunately you can't see all the zip tie paths. But there's basically, like before, we had 2 zip tie paths. There's actually now 3. There's one in the middle, and there's also one on the side here. So you can see this kind of zip tie that's holding on here. There's actually a vertical zip tie clamp up here. And then for the X end stop, there's actually now 2 zip tie paths to hold that even tighter. Now you can use those for any other mounting that you might want to use, depending on how you clean up the wires. And then the 40mm fan exhaust blowing out here. And again, I just used 2 screws to hold on the 40. Now the one difficult part is the nuts that are back here are not set inwards or anything, so you kind of have to hold them with your finger, slowly tighten this bolt and hope it catches, and then use some needle nose pliers. In the future I will trap these nuts in the heatsink duct so that's easier to install. And then the probe I'll go in a separate video, but that's the mount for now for the probe. And that a bit covers the history of the extruder, which will be released, or Extruder Carriage, which will be released very shortly.